Hello everyone, W.F.S, your doctor here, talking about this article right here from Screen Rant regarding Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones may not be the hero that everyone thinks he is, or rather, how the Indiana Jones movies prove Indy isn't a hero. I have a serious problem with this article. In 1981, Harrison Ford introduced us to Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, which was a huge success. An action-adventure movie about an archaeologist searching for the Ark of the Covenant, his enemies, the Nazis, along with another archaeologist called Belloc. Excellent movie, action all the way. Loved it. Saw it when I was 11 years old, and to this day, it is still one of my favorite Harrison Ford films. So when I see articles like the one I just told you about, Screen Rant, it gets me a little upset because childhood memories, I don't like them messed with. And Indiana Jones is just one of those adventure stories that I absolutely loved. Okay, so Screen Rant comes out 2 days ago with this article about how Indiana Jones may not be the hero that everyone thinks he is. And pretty much that he's doing what the government orders him to do, and he's a man who's more interested in self opportunities. And I just have problems with this article. Hang on 1 second and I will show you what I'm talking about. Okay, quoting from the article now. As one of the most beloved movies ever made, Raiders of the Lost Ark has been subject to much scrutiny over the years. Common criticism of Raiders of the Lost Ark are that Jones did nothing to actually affect the plot and alternatives that he could have prevented World War II had had be had he not attempted to intervene. What? However, when Indiana Jones' motivations in the film are boiled down to one simple point, it becomes clear. It becomes clear now. It becomes clear that he has only acted in order to protect status quo, his status quo. He didn't prevent the Nazis from retrieving the Ark, but he helped level the playing field. I'm lost here. He didn't help prevent the Nazis from getting the Ark. He tried every way he could to get that darn thing away from them. In case the reader or the author of this article forgets that him and Marion were thrown into the pyramid along with those friendly little snakes that he so loves so much. And let's not forget that at the end of this movie, he rides a submarine. He attaches himself to the submarine as it goes on. And I did read an article several weeks ago claiming that it is possible that Indiana Jones was able to survive that boat ride. I kid you not. This article went on to claim that there was a way for him to do it. And the other thing is that, again, Indiana Jones is self-motivated. Really? If I'm not mistaken, toward the end of this movie, when the Nazis have Marion, he has a gun or a rifle, rocket launcher, a rocket launcher, and he tells them, I won't shoot the Ark, I will shoot it if you give me Marion. I just want Marion, then we'll leave. You can have the Ark, have a nice life. And Belloc tricks him, or not tricks him, but kind of talks him down. Oh, this is an archaeological piece that you'll never find. You can't shoot it. Don't do it. So Indiana gives up the rocket gun. They wind up tied to a pole as they open up the Ark, and these angels or demons or whatever they are, I think they were angels, and they recognized the Nazis, how evil they were, and just trashed them. And the other point of the article that this author tries to make is that at the end, when the government, he hands over the ark to the government, and he finds out that they have top scientists who are going to investigate it, and he asks whom? Top men. That's the best answer. Indiana walks out of there knowing what they're going to do. And there's not much he can do. He's fighting the United States government. What's he supposed to do? Run to the papers? But this person in this article clearly states, well, he didn't fight for the ark. He didn't fight for it. The people have a right to know. Who would believe him? Who's going to believe him that they opened up this ark on some Nazi base and that these flying angels or reapers of hell came out and destroyed? No evidence left of the massacre that took place. The angels cleaned it up and sucked it back into the ark. No evidence of it. But these people, this author here wants him to go off to the press or somebody and say, hey, they've got the ark stored in some warehouse somewhere, which they did find at the 4 movies later in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But the point here is that this author is trying to say that Indiana Jones is a self-serving opportunist. And at the beginning of the movie, I guess it can be seen that way. He was only interested in finding the ark for the museum. But again, for the museum, he was willing to sacrifice and go off on his adventures, which he is a rugged adventurer, and he's supposed to go off to find the ark, and he wants it for the museum. At the beginning of the movie, when Marcus comes to his home and tells him, they want you to go after the ark. They want to study it. They want you to go find it, bring it back to them. They'll study it. And then he goes, but the ark comes back to the museum, right? Oh, absolutely, Indy, absolutely. So he was concerned about the museum getting it because he knew that people would come from all over to the museum. Yes, it would give him money to find the ark. Of course, he's an archaeologist and he's in it for the history. He's a historical professor, is he not? He's also a man who needs to make a living. And Indiana Jones is an archaeologist, and he makes a living off of finding rare antiques. The article goes on to talk about the Temple of Doom, which was a prequel to the Raiders of the Lost Ark. In it, once again, they go after him for being a self-serving, self-absorbed man who has a 10-year-old kid being lugged around in dangerous situations. He's also very mean to his woman sidekick, Willie, which was somewhat of a spoiled woman and a little whiny and annoying. But again, they're trying to make the point that he really didn't help anybody. He didn't do anything for the plot. Are you kidding me? This man saved a whole village of children from being sacrificed by Molaram. And I think the god was Tafiki. No, wrong movie. Wrong movie. I forgot the god's name. Anyway, then we fast forward over to the Last Crusade. And over here, they're talking again about how Indiana Jones was more interested in only finding his father and maybe getting the cup of Christ for self purposes of the sky. Hey, I've got the cup of Christ. I'm going to give it to the museum. Let's not forget, though, at the beginning of this movie, when he was a child, he saw them digging for some cross. I forgot the name of the cross. He chased after them. He got them on a train. He found it. He chased them onto a train. Excuse me, I'm getting stuck here. Chased them onto a train, and he fought them off, yelling, "It belongs in a museum." So he got away with it. Went back to his father, who was doing all sorts of biblical study regarding the cup of Christ. Funny how that would be furthered into the story. Haha. Anyway, fast forward to when Indy's an adult. He's getting the crap beat out of him on a boat, again with the same cross and the same man who was paid to steal it in the first place. And he's arguing once again. It belongs in a museum. So this is a man who's being accused right now of being self-absorbed and caring only about himself. Twice in about 15 minutes of the last crusade. It belongs in a museum. He also showed respect for the knight at the end of the movie. He realized that the cup of Christ could not leave the temple. And he even tried to save Elsa from her own selfishness. As Henry Jones said, she saw a prize, not the love of Christ. So, what do you people think about all this? Is Screen Rant wrong, or am I wrong for the rant that I'm giving Screen Rant? I love the Indiana Jones movies, and I think they're amazing. And I just feel that this article is way wrong. If you're interested in reading the article, again, go Google it. Just type in Indiana Jones is no hero, Screen Rant, and it'll come up with no problems. I'm W.F.S, your doctor. Please click the like button below, comment, and subscribe. The more subscribers I have, the better I can make my content. God bless you, everyone.